Y'all, Chris Brown is going to jail. He is back to his shenanigans, and it looks like he's about to earn himself a one-way ticket into a police investigation. Chris is always known for being messy as F, and he can never seem to keep his hands to himself, and he's always getting into some trouble one way or another. Well, it looks like he put himself into some major trouble this time around, because not only is he being investigated by the police, but he is also getting sued for $50 million after putting hands on someone at his concert. This situation is very messy, but y'all know who's enjoying the situation: his ex, Rihanna, that's who. Now, we all know that there was some love lost between these two, and Rihanna clowned him extra hard after the news of his arrest leaked. Rihanna is one of the biggest and sassiest trolls on social media, and Chris just found out that the hard way, because Riri dragged him for filth, exposing some of his biggest and nastiest secrets. So what dirt did Rihanna spill about Chris Brown, and has Chris really put hands on other women apart from Rihanna? Let's break it all the way down. Now, one thing about your boy Chris Brown is he is always going to fight his way into trouble without even stopping to think about the consequences. If y'all thought that him being on tour would stop him from acting violently, well, you clearly do not know this man, because nothing is going to stop Chris from fighting if he wants to. He's currently on the 11/11 tour, and he recently had a concert in Fort Worth, Texas. While the concert itself went well, things went very left after the show. According to reports, 4 men, Larry Parker, Joseph Lewis, Charles Bush, and DeMarcus Powell, say they were invited backstage and escorted there, along with 40 women, for a post-concert hang. I mean, y'all know how it goes down with these male artists on stage. The women, the alcohol, and the parties, the substance, and all that stuff. Well, these 4 men claim that they waited for Chris to show up in a VIP area, but it took him more than 30 minutes to arrive, and they got tired of waiting. After a while, they decided to leave, but they ran into Chris on their way out. One of the men, Charles Bush, claimed that he tried to dab Chris up, and then Chris was receptive initially. However, someone in Chris's entourage shouted, "Man, you don't remember you two were beefing?" Chris replied, "Oh yeah, we were. What's up, my ninja? I don't forget ish." And he verbally ordered his crew to jump Charles. Y'all, Chris clearly surrounds himself with these yes men who enable this bad behavior, because why on earth did a grown man try to make things that messy? Chris had already forgotten that he had issues with Charles, and the situation wouldn't have escalated if someone didn't have a loud mouth. Well, Charles also claimed that he was surrounded by 7 to 10 of Chris's friends who punched and kicked him. He also claims an entourage member known as Hood Boss threw a chair at his head. Charles wasn't the only one who got jumped either, because Larry Parker also claimed that Chris sent his friend, Yella Beezy, and Co. to F up Parker, chasing him into a dead-end staircase with a locked door. Parker says he was punched and kicked in his head for more than 10 minutes after Chris encouraged all of his companions to get a piece of the action. But these 2 other men also got hurt in the chaos and needed to go to the hospital for treatment. All 4 men have filed a lawsuit against Chris Brown, asking for a restraining order as well as $50 million. Their lawyer released a statement that said, "We filed suit last night alleging that on Saturday night in Fort Worth, entertainer Chris Brown, along with his entourage, attacked and brutally beat several men who had just attended his concert. Multiple police reports have been made. At least one of the men remains hospitalized. Chris Brown reportedly has a long history of and has been arrested or accused of assault on at least 10 occasions." Enough. The lawsuit the Busby law firm has filed seeks damages on behalf of the 4 men lives, with the hope of obtaining justice for these and putting an end once and for all to the intolerable and thuggish behavior set forth in the lawsuit. Y'all, if Chris Brown keeps acting like this, he's going to go broke quicker than anybody could have predicted. The wild thing about this, though, is that he absolutely hates it when people bring up his past violent actions, and he cries foul about how people keep judging him about his past. I mean, y'all remember how he flipped out on fans last year when they dragged Chloe Bailey for making a song with him. He wrote, "If y'all still hate me for a mistake I made as a 17-year-old, please kiss my whole entire ass. I'm effing 33. I'm so tired of y'all running with this narrative. You weird people are the same ones that tune in every week to see Blueface and Chris Shawn fight of each other in front of the world. But that's okay. It's entertainment. All y'all can suck my D disrespectfully." He continued, "Where are the cancel culture with these white artists that dates young women to F out their wives, giving women AIDS? Oh, that's right. They're your buddies. No more fake love from me. Stay out my way or get ran over. Simple as that. None of you, and I mean none of you guys, can F with me. But the thing is, Chris has a very long history of putting hands on other people, especially women. I mean, y'all remember what happened between him and Rihanna the night before the Grammys. Rihanna claimed that the fight started because she suspected that he was cheating on her. In an interview, Rihanna said, "I caught him in a lie. He wouldn't tell the truth and I wouldn't drop it. I couldn't take that he kept lying to me, and he couldn't take that I wouldn't drop it. It escalated into him being towards me, and it was ugly. I was bad. I was blue." She also admitted that the relationship was super toxic, saying, "The more in love we became, the more dangerous we became for each other. Equally dangerous because it was a bit of an obsession." Now, for the longest time, Chris also went along with this version of events, claiming that he had lost his mind when Rihanna caught him cheating.
But then I really hit it. I got one of the clothes finished, I got punched. And then I busted her lip. And when I saw it, I was in shock. I was like, fuck, why did I hit her? Like, so from there, she just spit in my face, like, spit in my face, and I'm like, and I was so it enraged me even more. Like, it's a real little fight in the car. We driving in the street. So I'm like, we tripping. I'm like, what are we doing? She's trying to grab from my phone, and I'm not getting it on my phone to throw it out of the window. So she grabs my nuts, and then when she do that, I bite her on my thing. As I'm driving, I'm still trying to drive. And it's just like a petty, like, stupid fight. And I'm just realizing it, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
However, Jaguar Wright made an interesting claim. In an interview, Jaguar claimed that Chris flipped out on Rihanna because he found out that she was allegedly having an affair with Jay-Z. Rumors of Jay-Z and Rihanna allegedly having an affair were very strong a few years ago, but her publicist denied these claims, saying that he was the one who started the rumors. The publicist said, "The PR stunt that I did was out of desperation to help break Ponder Replay." He wrote, "It was reckless and I didn't think it was going to work. I was just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick. I didn't think it would be this big story, but now knowing that people are profiting from speculations and opinions about her really turns my stomach. I'm ashamed that I'm even talking about this. I just want to put this rumor to rest once and for all." However, Jaguar insisted that the affair did happen. Not only that, but she claimed that Rihanna allegedly gave Chris herpes, which he found out about that night. And that was the real reason that Chris put hands on her.
Beating Rihanna, you know what I'm saying?
I don't understand why people keep talking about that. It was forever ago. They were both very young, and he had just had his first herpes outbreak from her giving him the herpes.
Ooh, my.
Like, how the, you know what I mean? Like people don't understand what happened that night. And that's because Jay-Z worked so hard to change the narrative of that night.
It sounded like Jaguar was defending Chris, and fans felt some type of way. But the thing is, if he did flip out on Rihanna, that was not the only time that he put hands on someone else. Last year, he got into Teyana Taylor's face and tried to put hands on her. And when Usher tried to intervene, he ended up putting hands on Usher and breaking his nose, allegedly. The wild part about this is that Chris and Teyana go way back, of a 15-year relationship. They've always shown love for each other, and Teyana was one of the few celebs who stuck beside Chris after his 2009 DV incident with Rihanna. This showed how much Teyana genuinely cared about Chris because she risked her career for him. Chris was getting canceled by everyone in Hollywood. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. And Teyana could have easily faced the same fate. It's been 14 years since the incident and people still get dragged for working with him. So you can imagine the backlash Teyana faced back then when the DV was still fresh. Not only did she stick by his side, but she also publicly declared her support for him. In an interview with Vibe magazine, Teyana said, "A lot of people would jump in on different bandwagons and I really felt like that was whack. Before the incident between him and Rihanna, Chris had always been my brother. When we met, we clicked instantly, from our fashion styles to our love for basketball to dancing to everything. I've known him for 4 years and I was one of the only people that stood by his side when the situation happened." But if that wasn't bad enough, she also went on The Breakfast Club and announced that she was going to stick by Chris no matter what.
Me and Rihanna is cool. You understand what I'm saying? Like, well, we used to be cool. But at the end of the day, my loyalty is with my brother.
This made things strained between her and Rihanna, which led to a messy fight on Twitter. and Teyana made fun of Rihanna for getting hurt by Chris. Now this was a very messed up thing to do at the time because it was still fresh, and it explains why people felt like Teyana was in support of Chris putting his hands on Rihanna. I mean, it's one thing to blindly support your friend no matter what, but then it's another thing to mock the openly. Her actions also ended up costing her Adidas partnership because they dropped her immediately. They also released a statement saying, "We have ended our relationship with Teyana Taylor and do not have any upcoming product launches with her. All I can say is that Adidas partners with athletes and artists who blend well with our brand values. We evaluate our relationships with the partners based on the values we hold at Adidas, and we don't condone of any kind." Well, losing a bag wasn't enough to break their friendship because Chris and Teyana remained tight, but then everything changed after the 2022 AMAs. Chris was booked to perform a tribute to Michael Jackson, and Teyana was part of this performance. However, she ended up pulling out, and a few days later, the AMAs announced that they were canceling Chris's performance. This came after they got dragged for giving Chris a platform, despite his messy past with women. An insider revealed that the higher-ups became uncomfortable with the prospect of a convicted domestic abuse feeding an alleged a Disney network. Yikes. Looks like his past definitely came back to bite him in the back, but for some reason insiders claim Chris blamed Teyana for his performance being canceled. Now, I really don't have an idea how he arrived at that conclusion since the AMAs gave their own reason, but that's Chris for you. He was allegedly super convinced Teyana had something to do with it, and in true Chris Brown fashion, he's held a grudge against her. They've mostly managed to stay out of each other's way, but things got messy when Usher threw a surprise birthday party for Chris. Like Teyana, Usher, and Chris go way back and have publicly shown love to each other many times. But anyways, Usher decided to surprise Chris with a party and invited Teyana along with many other celebrities. Now, Teyana being there would have been fine if Chris wasn't still holding a grudge against her. The party was in full swing and everybody was having such a great time. That is until Chris saw Teyana and got upset. He went up to her, and sources claim he got in her face and was being very disrespectful. Usher stepped in, thinking the birthday boy shouldn't be getting into fights, but Chris wasn't having any of that. Got into an argument with Usher as well. Well, Chris ended up leaving the party to go outside, and Usher followed him so they could sort out the drama. Well, the moment he got outside, Chris and his entourage jumped him and left him with a broken nose. Now, this part right here is wild, because how on earth are you going to jump someone who literally planned a party for you while the party was going on? It's just so much disrespect. Now, we love Chris Brown, but at the same time, I think we can all admit that he has some severe anger issues that often get the best of him. And when I say that he has severe anger issues, I mean that literally. Because the day after the fight with Usher, he got into another physical altercation at the Lovers and Friends concert where he was booked to perform. Two fights in 2 days? That is some nasty, nasty work. And don't even get me started on his situation with his ex, Karrueche Tran, because he put hands on her so much that she had to get a restraining order against him. In 2017, Karrueche filed court documents requesting a restraining order against Chris, whom she had broken up with at the time. In the documents, she made some pretty shocking revelations that showed that Chris was still the violent person that he had been in 2009. She claimed he had punched her in the stomach and even pushed her down a flight of stairs a couple of years before she filed, but she didn't report it at the time. This was all because he was still on probation from the Rihanna incident and would have faced serious legal trouble. Karrueche also revealed that Chris has threatened to kill her, saying that if he couldn't have her, nobody else could. This is super toxic, and I'm glad she got out when she did. But even after they broke up, Chris continued to intimidate her and her friends, leading her to get a restraining order against him. And after all of that, Chris tried to go the good boy route, putting on a show of being a changed man. He mostly managed to stay out of some serious trouble, but people couldn't forget the horrible things that he had done, and he remained canceled in the eyes of many fans. Sure, he continued to make music, but he became something of an outcast. Is he still successful? Well, kind of, because people are still coming to his concert, but is he as influential as he once was, or should have been? No. And he only has himself to blame. But as I said, he did the good boy thing for a while, but he couldn't stay out of trouble for long. It seems like he particularly has an issue with women, because in 2016, he was investigated for hitting a woman and taking her cell phone when she tried to take a picture of him in a Las Vegas hotel. Then in 2019, he was detained in Paris after he was accused of assailing a woman in a hotel in Paris, France. Both Chris, his management, and his lawyers denied this allegation and claimed that he was a target. I don't even know what they mean by calling him a target if he has a history of this behavior, but whatever. In 2021, he was investigated again by the police for hitting a woman in the San Fernando Valley area in Los Angeles. According to TMZ, the victim, who remains anonymous, claimed that Chris smacked her so hard that her weave fell off. Do you know how hard you have to hit someone for their whole weave to fall off? Luckily, she was uninjured, but Chris somehow managed to get off without getting arrested. But that's not even all of it, because he has also gotten aggressive with his own mother. While there are no reports that he ever put his hands on his mom, he expressed his aggressiveness in other ways. For example, when he went to rehab for anger management after his case with Rihanna, his mom visited him and they got into an argument. According to reports, Chris's mom showed up for a family session and was urging her son to stay in the facility for an extended treatment. Apparently, Chris disagreed with her and in a fit of anger threw a rock through her car window, shattering it. So it looks like Chris is no stranger to fighting and trying to get people jumped, but for some reason, he has managed to avoid doing time or facing some real consequences. But that looks like it's about to change now, because the $50 million lawsuit promises to be messy as F. And people are getting tired of his BS, and he only has himself to blame. Well, according to an insider, Rihanna is enjoying this very much because she thinks that people will finally get to see the real side of Chris Brown that we've been ignoring this whole time. It seems like she's been trying to warn people about Chris and how she wasn't his only victim. But with this latest addition to his messy, violent track record, people may finally see what he is actually like. The insider also claimed that Rihanna is allegedly siding with Chris's accusers in hopes that they get every single cent from Chris. Well, you know the fans have been all over it, and they believe in comments saying, CB is as hell. He be putting his hands on any dang body. That's why I look at anybody who is his friend crazy, and I felt nothing when he hit Usher, because that's what your butt get for platforming his psycho ad. Chris Brown has been into every type of relationship possible with women in his life. Girlfriends, his own mama, friends, colleagues, strangers. I feel so bad for his daughter. The track record Chris Brown has of being a nasty, horrible person is insane. Like, that man is evil and has an army of airhead girls standing behind him, pretending like all he did is hit Rihanna 15 years ago. And it's so unfair that nobody will forgive him for this one thing. And I keep saying this man is not a good man, and his defenders keep getting mad. How many people does Chris Brown have to be recognized? Drop your thoughts and comments below and then check out this next video.